We're going to stick with the bag ban for a moment, and I want to go to the Australian Retailers Association and their Executive Director, Scott Driscoll. Scott, what do you think about what's going to happen here in South Australia?
Chris, we've had a look at this, and I think the Minister's got this dead wrong. We're the Retailers Association, by the way. We've got national membership, but different organisation to the Australian Retailers Association. But looking at this, we've got people in South Australia that have been having conniptions over this today. It's anti-business. It's bad for consumers. This is going to be a price that's passed on to consumers in a time where all governments should be focused on putting downward pressure on grocery prices.
Now, there's a word I like, conniptions. If you've got them happening now, how is this going to be bad for business?
Well, if you stop and think about it, and I don't know that the Minister has really stopped and thought about this, you've really got to look at, okay, you've got shop fit-outs, they're going to have to be changed, you're going to have cash register areas changed, there's some serious dollars attached to that in retailer areas that this is already heavily used. Now, so in terms of shop fit-outs, we're talking about, I mean, as we know now, you have those plastic bags strung out over a little frame. That's very right. Easy. They scan the products, put them straight in. It won't be so easy. Is it not so easy in those green bags? I mean, they're using them already, aren't they? They're using them to an extent, but I think if any government's fair dinkum about doing the right thing by the community at large, and that includes retailers, and a lot of independent retailers across South Australia are the people responsible for pushing downward pressure on the prices that Coles and Woolworths are otherwise charging. I mean, these are the people that are going to be hit the hardest, and those costs are going to have to be passed on to consumers. We're paying record rates for groceries at this stage, and this is going to have a negative effect on that. I just don't think the Minister's thought this out.
Now, you want to be very clear about that. Are you saying that this will add an additional cost to our shopping?
This will cost retailers to do, and who do you think is going to be paying? It's consumers that are going to be paying for this, which the South Australian Environment Minister has thought that she wants to lead the way on this, but at the end of the day, I think there's been a lot of thought put into this, and there needs to be a far greater staged approach. I note that the opposition has put up an alternative to actually charge a levy as a first step. I mean, we're certainly not even pro a levy. I think what we need
we'll
to do...
speak to them in a moment, but on that basis, on the increased cost, you'd have to be opposed to that approach as well.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, at least in that it's not a direct cost to the retailer who are our members, but it's still going to be a cost to the consumers. And what we're saying is this should be a collaborative approach between industry and the government, and the federal government's already approaching this. It's a little bit weird as to why the South Australian government's seen fit to sort of buck the trend here when there was an intent, I suppose, nationally to at least get to something sustainable. We don't believe this is sustainable, and it's the consumers who will pay.
All right, thanks for sharing your views with us. You'll no doubt follow it through Parliament and be opposing this until you can't fight any longer. It is law.
Chris, we'll be involved with this for the good of consumers in South Australia and for the good of the retailers that we've got as members, sure.
Thanks. That's Scott Driscoll from the Retailers Association.